Well, hello and welcome to this week's Metaworld news for the week ending 28th of May of 2017. Of course, that could be 29th of May if you're in Australia. Why am I saying that? For no reason at all, really. But if you are watching this program live, we are a little bit late this week due to maintenance here at the grid hosting the studio, but only by a little bit. So who's complaining? Anyway, this is the news from and about the metaverse, so to speak. The metaverse being the world of social worlds, social spaces, virtual worlds online, and particularly Open Simulator and the hypergrid. The hypergrid being a system that connects a heck of a lot of these worlds all together. Anyway, I will start off with some of the more highlights from the more mainstream news, as it were. You can find more details about the items I'm going to mention on my Twitter feed, which is twitter.com/Malburns, MALBURNS, all one word. And there are a number of things there, but these are the highlights. So, starting the week, I guess it would have been last Monday, a post from uploadvr.com, that's uploadvr.com, building the VR experiences and worlds of the future. And this is a bit of a roundup of a talk that was given by science fiction author Austin Grossman at a recent Games Beat Summit, where they were looking at science fiction, virtual worlds, and all the various bits and pieces. So overview stuff there, not limited to a given world, but the future of virtual spaces, I guess. Also, voicesofvr.com, an almost daily podcast featuring various interviews and discussions about virtual reality, the technology, and in some cases the worlds. Number 537, which would have been up on Tuesday. The future of virtual reality for Google is on the open web with WebVR and WebAR. And they are talking to Google basically about what's happening there. A lot of reports in the press recently about, I won't say this is exactly news, but analyzing what Google are doing in the virtual reality space and new versions of Daydream and deals they're making with, I think it's Samsung and stuff like that. And how many people think they are beginning, what the stuff they're doing is beginning to eclipse Oculus Rift, which, of course, the almighty Facebook won't be. But we shall see in the future exactly what's going on that front. Right, back to the actual news and uploadvr.com. Yes, again, this would have been on Tuesday. How the road will use VR to raise awareness of human trafficking. This is, I don't do many posts about new products, especially when they're not social worlds, but this is an interactive virtual reality piece called The Road, and exactly what it says here. Turning a blind eye is hard to do when something is right in front of you, which is why many people see VR as such a powerful tool for raising awareness of the many issues mankind faces, etc., etc. And this is a piece that actually endeavors to put you in the immersive experience of being somebody who's literally been treated as an object. You know, you're a human being, but you're being trafficked for very inhuman purposes. So, worthy stuff there. Voicesofvr.com, yet again. This would have been later in the week, where it's still Thursday. They have another podcast on how Mozilla, they're the people behind your Firefox browser and stuff, how Mozilla is driving WebVR content and tooling with the A-frame network. A-frame framework. That's a bit of a tongue twister, isn't it? A-frame basically is I guess it's a kind of JavaScript framework, which is behind a lot of powering of VR content online with WebVR. Right. A post from hypergridbusiness.com, our companion, as it were. Well, this one's actually about uploadvr.com rather than a post on uploadvr.com. It's put in actually. It's a press release. So I don't know whether it's Maria or David or somebody else who actually posted it. But Upload VR lawsuit is a warning for nascent. There's a nascent. Nascent. How do you pronounce that? NASCENT. Nascent. Uh, yes, VR industry basically, and the press release actually comes from Women in Virtuality because it's the lawsuit is really to do with sexual discrimination and various stuff like that. The Yeah, it is actually a press release, so they just quote Maria, obviously, as a participant. She's now the president of Women in Virtuality. God, no wonder she's so busy. Right. So interesting stuff there while they're reading. So be ever cautious here. Medium.com, a great site for longer articles. There is an article up. It's by Monica Bakeskite. Who's she? Virtual reality as a possibility space. Just another good sort of piece on what virtual reality is, what it does, what the possibilities are. I'm just seeing it was. You'll probably find it in their headlines at medium.com on March the. Oh, interesting. This is actually dated March the 4th, so it doesn't seem to have arrived to me very quickly. Anyway, interesting piece if you go to Medium. And also at Medium, probably more up to date. Yes, May the 17th. I obviously managed to link these together. 5 practical uses for virtuality. Again, for those of you who don't really know too much about it, it just looks at some of the most practical uses, ranging from military treatment, treating PTSD, education, and don't want to know about nuclear specialist training, really, but there you go. And crime scene reconstruction. So they've focused on those 5 uses and given details thereof. The Week in VR review. Nothing to do with us, but it's posted at vrscout.com. That's vrscout.com. Malia Probst, if I've got her name right, she publishes this every week. It's a weekly podcast, but going to that site will give you a little bit of a roundup of stuff they've been covering too. And that appears to be it for the highlights I've got in that feed. And before I move on to Sim and hypergrid and Metaverse, social world specific stuff, I'm going to hand the mic over to Marcus Llewellyn, who's also standing in for James today. And I believe, Marcus, you may have some news for us on the strictly speaking, the Open Sim developers front and possibly the Infinite Metaverse group.
Yes, I do indeed. Hi, everybody.
Right.
Right?
If Marcus is there.
I am here.
He might be muted.
No, I am here.
No? Okay. Well,
I am here. I'm sorry. I am so sorry. That was my bad. I'm rocking 2 microphones. One was muted, one was not. So
fair enough.
yes. Oh, my bad. I always seem to screw something up. It's just talent I have. All right. Open Simulator Developer Meeting. This week, lots of technical discussions. There's been an outstanding bug report about simulators that hang on shutdown on newer versions of the Mono runtime, which allows open simulators to run under platforms like Macintosh. And of course, as people upgrade their Linux, their Mono, they've been running into this problem. So recently, Umarov in particular, with a little bit of help from Robert Adams, has zeroed in on that bug and fixed it. So that got fixed after the meeting. But that was pretty much where the meeting started with. And then the meeting pretty much moved on to some concerns about how OpenSim sim handles IP version for addressing. There's an internal issue with Mono that could prevent some home hosted users from properly hosting grids or standalone. Something that they don't want that to happen. They continue on as they have. I mean, such a such great supporters of the platform.
That, that would affect something like the Outworlds installs that people have.
Yes, it would. It really
Yeah.
would. Um, and at that, it was more or less just chit chat after that, and it pretty much wrapped up.
Great. Now, I was actually there too, but you were at the Infinite Metaverse meeting, also Q&A thing, a little bit after that. Any thoughts on that?
Sure. Yeah, that was the first one I've attended many Q&A meetings. The first one I attended where it was actually broken up into the working groups, which was quite fascinating. And we heard mostly from the there was a web browser um working group, and they're apparently making some good progress on getting things started on there in uh making a web browser based viewer happen, which sounds
Yeah.
fantastic. And the other group that spoke probably the most was the oh, I forget what they're called, the currency or economy group.
Oh,
Um,
right. Yeah, good point. I thought, yeah, it's more on the enterprise level. Yes, currencies and stuff. Yeah,
yeah, and they talked a lot about ideas about they really want to have something, a microcurrency universal. Uh, they focused a lot on bit chain type monies, which is many of us are familiar with with Bitcoin. That's a cryptocurrency. That's the sort of thing that they were talking about using, not necessarily Bitcoin, but a technology based on the same thing. Um, Otherwise, most those were the two working groups that really had the most to say. I think. After the official meeting was done, I had a long and lovely talk with Lisa Paxton about accessibility issues, which is actually another working group of those. Even though the meeting was officially over, we talked quite a bit about the challenges that disabled people face, whether it's with vision or hearing, have you, or movement type correct, or easily. Um, so that was very illuminating and interesting as well. And again, that pretty much wrapped up the IMA meeting I attended.
yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, it was one of those meetings where I had to flitter in and flutter out again. So I mean, I got it all, but I didn't. I wasn't there for the chat afterwards. Um, yes, a lot of it was actually quite intriguing. I thought that. That the currency working group or whatever it is called has actually they've got codecs and globits involved, and they've got other interest from what is really outside the social virtual worlds we know. So yes, they do seem to be moving, and of course, yes, as you said, the web viewer idea and all the news from that source actually was from well, interesting sources. It wasn't all to do with Moses' original, attempt to do this. So obviously, other people exploring different avenues. So, very good news there. Okay, well, thank you for that, Marcus, and I will return to my feeds and read out some more highlights. Now, this show um, also has a Twitter feed at twitter.com/slash news. There's quite a bit there these days, a few things a week. It's relatively new, so it's not super populated, so to speak. Um, but there've been quite a few video posts and things up this week, which I have up there. So I'm going back to the beginning of the week. Another one from my business doc 3 days ago. This was from Maria herself, and this is top five business models for successful grids. This was the most, in Maria's unique style, telling you, what the ideal models are from a business point of view if you actually want to run a successful grid, and starting with commercial grids and also, adapting for integrated grids. Um, Also, hypergridbusiness.com, Maria again reports on the average OpenSim region price has now fallen to 19 US dollars. Um, this is not to say that's what it's going to cost you to get a region on OpenSim. That's very much an average. You would be surprised, you can actually get something for a couple of dollars, and you can also go up to quite higher than that. That is the average price, and it probably reflects a service where you're going to a reliable hosting provider who do lots of the work and the back end work for you. If you really were paying, say, $2 a month for an OpenSIM region, have limited frames and you might have no support whatsoever if the thing misbehaves on you, which isn't really very useful. So, but interesting that the average price there has fallen under $20 for the first time, for what I think you can consider to be a reasonable service. And on the grid we broadcast from, for example, I think the price for a full region is now down to about 15 with full service and everything. So, as the hypergrid, which is the mesh matrix of open similar worlds increases, then there is obviously more competition on prices. For those of you who want to actually get either grids or regions on grids. Okay, now I mentioned video earlier, and 3 days ago we had a video up from Space. You can probably hear it playing in the background here. I love those autoplays. Right. This was on May 17th. It's described as a draft promo, but they published it anyway, obviously. And it's just an information film, really, about space and what you can do there and what's coming up. If I'm right, there's another one from them coming up. Here we are. This was on the 25th. And this is a news update posted on the 25th. Of all the stuff that's happening, or rather from the provider's point of view on sine wave. You can the links, as I say, are on the Metaworld News Twitter feed. But if you're going direct to YouTube.com, which is where they all are, then I think Science Space is the name of the account, but I'm sure you can find it fairly easily. Right now. Several other clips this week, rather interestingly, from I can't see exactly offhand. Here we are. A YouTube user, or at least a avatar, whose name is Spax Orion, SPAX, their surname ORIN. Does seems to be doing about one or two of these shows. Well, they're not shows, but I'll explain in a minute. Called Open Sim Living. A few times a week. They're quite long and extensive. The one I've opened here, the first one, is 8 minutes, 30 seconds, talking about using particles and having fun with particles. And there was another one up on the same day, which is about free living open sim hosting on OS Grid on that particular occasion. Another one he had up a day later on animated furniture. And and then we come to one that isn't by Spax Orion. This was, I forget which, there are actually two videos up this week celebrating Hypergrid Safari's 3rd anniversary. Which happened on Wednesday. Hypergrid Safari meets every Wednesday at 12 noon, usually on the HG Safari region on Franco Grid. This last week, however, It went to another region on Franco Grid that had been deliberately set up so to get all 100 avatars if need be, because it was the third anniversary party. There was some wonderful, very eclectic music played for the first hour, followed by performances by um, Joao, I can never pronounce his name, Portuguese guitarist, wonderful stuff, and Whirly Placebo, a bit more rocky type stuff. Both really top notch open sim troubadours, as it were, of sorts. And it was superbly well attended. I mean, anybody who ever comes along and says to you, "There's no people in open sim," would already ought to have been there, because even an older platform, established platform like Second Life would have had trouble hosting this volume of people, or even attracting this volume of people to a single event. There were an average of just under 50 avatars on the region dancing at any given time throughout the 3 hours, and people were popping in and out. And I've got a feeling that if everybody had landed all at once, even a 100 avatar region might not have been able to cope. But as it happened, it did. And there was not only some wonderful music, there was some wonderful visuals, very unusual visuals surrounding the region where it was held. And yeah, it's a great time had by all, and wonderful to celebrate the fact that Haku Safari is unbelievably 3 years old now. I mean, it meets every week and takes in 2 or 3 different locations every week. Multiply that by 3 years, well, that's 150. Yeah, there's like 500 odd destinations it's covered so far. So yeah, great party, great event, and Safari is always good. So you'll find that up on YouTube, links in our feed, and yes. There are actually two. There's 1078. 3 years of Hypergrid Safari is another one. And this one I do know was posted by Zona Cappellini. And that's, I believe, the name of their YouTube account too. So you can get those on the links. And finally, I need the one that says your posts, right? This is just a quick check to see that I haven't posted anything on Google Plus that didn't make it to one of the other feeds too. This is the self-checking department, and indeed, everything there is done. Right, so yep, interesting week all round, apart from the Safari anniversary, of course. Good to see, as Marcus reported, the Infinite Metaverse group beginning to get all their working groups together, and an astonishing number of people involved in this thing. So the idea of an independent sort of umbrella group for well, it's more in development. It's just looking at the future and its connectivity and everything else. So glad to see that's really beginning to take off, as it were, the different parts of its engine revving up. And that's it for this week, I think. We will be back same time again next week. Because of the delays today, you're not going to believe it when I tell you that we won't actually be filming the edition of Inworld Review again this week. I think it's best for you just consider we took May off. We will reinitiate normal service. Normal service will be resumed next week, which will be June. So we can think of it a brand new month and keep our fingers crossed. Anecdotally, you can also expect a little bit of information coming your way from both Space, which is not Open Simulator, it's Sinewave's platform, and of course Philip Rosedale, who created Second Life, has a new platform called the Hypergrid, and we're basically building outside broadcast studios, as it were, in both of those. I never realised how long it took to build buildings, but never again. I've never been pro-tanging around on building sites, just some of the noise in the background outside the bedroom window. Anyway, building is in progress. What else can I say? We will return next week. So have a good week, everybody, and we'll see you then. Bye-bye.